here today and about this event and why it's important?
Sure, we're excited. This is our chamber annual event, and we're excited. It's our luncheon, but the thing that's so key for that is that we're able to acknowledge those that have really done great things throughout this year, and actually some for their lifetime. So we have the Duke Citizenship and Service Award that we'll give out today. We have the Nonprofit Director of the Year Award, our Chamber Ambassador of the Year, the one that gives back to the community for the Chamber all the time, and then also our Anderson Rising Young Professional of the Year Award. So we're excited about that. We do have Senator Lindsey Graham as our speaker today. We have about 275 people registered. We're really excited. I think it's going to be a great time for everybody to come together and network. That's one of the best things about the annual luncheon is to network and celebrate the people who've really made a difference in Anderson County.
And how were the winners chosen?
So we do that through talking with our board and also with the Duke Energy one. We obviously talk with Duke and give them input too, and we determine collectively who we feel like it is. So, but all the other ones we do internally. Actually, Brandy and I talk about the Chamber Ambassador of the Year, and then who runs our Anderson Rising Young Professional group. We look with them and say, who do you feel like really has stood out the most and done the most for the program? So that's how it is. But Nonprofit Director of the Year, we really talk with our board and how we need to go about that and who they feel like is most deserving. So, yes.
If somebody's watching this and they're thinking about joining the Chamber, tell them what the Chamber can do for them.
Oh, sure. Well, listen, we promote you 365 days, 24/7. You're always on our website, but also we make those business connections. We find out what you're needing. If there's somebody that supplies to you, or you supply to them, or you're a marketing company, so you're either marketing yourself or you're marketing your business. And we find out, what you need and what you're doing so that we can put you with other businesses. And we've done that. We've actually, one of our companies here, they needed somebody to make some metal stands for them that were on rollers, and they didn't find anything like that. So we put them with one of our structural steel companies that made products, and guess what? That was a $50,000 contract for them. So, and it helped the company that was needing it, and it helped them. So we really do listen to what your concerns are and what you're trying to market, so we can try to make that connection for you. So your chamber goes a little bit further with a membership to try to find out what we can do to assist you, because we want your business to thrive. We don't want you just to survive. We want you to thrive. But we also work on advocacy for you. So we send out to our businesses every year and ask them, what do we need to do? Basically kind of what keeps you up at night and what's keeping you from getting things done, any rules, regulations that are harming you, and whatever they come back with, we send out a survey and they rank those. And we work with the Upstate Chamber Coalition. That's 13 chambers, and so throughout the upstate area. And from that, we develop what our policy is going to be for the year. So we work on all of that agenda for the year to try to get that through the House and the Senate. And then also we work in D.C. as well with our senators and our congressmen. So people probably don't realize that, but we go to both Columbia and to D.C. and pick up the phone and talk with them. The nice thing is, they know us, and we have their phone numbers, and we can call them. They know I'm not just calling to ask how the weather is. They know we have really a big need from them. So they answer, and we get a lot done for our businesses, and we're really proud of that. We keep them connected with each other and things that are going on. And we have education programs for them, everything from seminars that we might do, webinars, and also candidate forums. So they'll know the people that are running for office, so they can see who has the best stance on the issues that are concerned to them. And so it helps them when they're going to the polls.
All right, Kyle, you were chair of the Chamber Board this year. What kind of year was this that we're celebrating here today?
We had a busy year. 2023 was very eventful. We started out the year buying a building right there on North Main, so we're very happy to be in that marquee location downtown. So that's kind of how we started the year, and it never really slowed down. Pam has led the chamber diligently, as she has for really almost the last decade. We've welcomed a lot of new businesses, and one thing that I was very proud of this year is the focus on retention. Every month we not only vote to add new members, but we always have to vote to essentially drop members. We had very, very few. So Pam and her staff did a great job at not only recruiting new talent and new business to the chamber, but also the retention, which I think that's huge. I mean, if you look at economic development, recruitment is one thing, but retention is a whole nother ball game. So I think that was great, just the sheer number of people that we were able to retain.
And you work with the school district here on City Council in Anderson. Why is the chamber important to this community?
Well, I think really it's reflected in our chamber board, and that's actually some of my remarks today is going to be about how we all wear a lot of different hats in this town, but one thing that we all do is, we're all pulling together, we're all pulling for Anderson. So no matter what, if I'm Mr. School District or if I'm City Council or working with the Chamber Board, it's all really the same end goal, which is to make Anderson a better place. I mean, I think that's reflected on the diversity of our Chamber Board, especially for industries. I mean, we have very large industries, Duke and AT&T. We have ANMED, school district, commercial real estate, bankers. There's a whole wide variety of people that we have on the Chamber Board, but we all have the same goal, which is to make Anderson a better place. And so I think that really kind of helps. I think the diversity and the unique experiences we all bring to the table really help the board.
How important is this event today to the Chamber?
Well, I think, our annual meeting every year, that's really our marquee event. We always try to get a great speaker. Last year we had Attorney General Alan Wilson. We've got Senator Lindsey Graham this year. It just is a great time to bring everybody together and not only let them know what we did last year, but kind of our goals for this upcoming year. And so the Chamber's always got a lot of different goals, working on our strategic vision. And a lot of times people, obviously the core focus of the Chamber is to advocate for businesses in our town, but it goes well beyond that. I mean, I think you see a large interest in local government, possible action to advocate for, governmental changes. We have it's an election year, so obviously, the Chamber has a PAC where we're, supporting, pro-business candidates and pro-business initiatives that, the city and the county and the state's getting behind. So there's always a lot of different things, and it's great just bringing everybody together this time of year.
Jordan, why is the Anderson Chamber important to nonprofits like AIM?
Well, I think the advocacy that they provide for all nonprofit organizations in our community it extends far beyond, our reach individually. And so the more you can have a collective effort, the better it is for those individual nonprofits. And the Chamber has always been a wonderful ambassador for us in advocating new.
First, in economic development, how important is the relationship between the county and the Chamber in economic development?
Well, first, we have a great relationship, and Pam is a great proponent of economic development and is always very supportive, and we certainly are supportive of the Chamber efforts as well. And we certainly advertise with them. It's a good platform for the community to know about Anderson County economic development, as well as for the rest of the country to be able to see something about who we are, how we are, and the Chamber's a great representative for all of those things. Anderson, South Carolina, great and wonderful, and I appreciate greatly what the Chamber does in promoting not only the city of Anderson, but the county as well.
Amanda Taylor. I'm the current board chair of Anderson Chamber, and I work for AT&T as the regional director.
And you could volunteer your time doing a lot of other things. Why did you choose to help the Chamber and serve as board director?
So Anderson is very near and dear to my heart. When I relocated to South Carolina, Pam and the Chamber were immediate to embrace me and kind of tell me what South Carolina could do for me in the upstate, and I have been a big supporter of the area and the Chamber.
In the year ahead, what are some of the things you've got looking at going forward?
So reinforcing some of the initiatives that we've had, including the small and minority business accelerator, as well as some of our policy initiatives regarding and the environmental initiatives such as the water resources, protecting Anderson County's water sources with our in our business advocacy, and then we have the engineering board advisory with Anderson University, and a lot of other initiatives, almost too many to remember, but we have re-energized our women's brunch, which is at full steam ahead.
Thanks, man.
Lux, First Citizens Bank, Piedmont Natural Gas, South State Bank, Tri-County Technical College, Arthrex, AT&T, and GSP International Airport. Please help me give them a round of applause. Thank you to our table sponsors today, that if they are members and they're partners, they actually bought additional tables. Anderson County, Harris Home, McCoy Wright, New Foundations Home for Children, and the People's Bank. I'd also like to bring acknowledgement to some of our elected officials and important people in the room, please. Mr. Edward Mercer with U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham's office, if you please stand. Thank you. Logan Kipling with U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham's office. Thank you. Ryan Serby with U.S. Senator Tim Scott's office. Rick Atkins with U.S. Congressman Duncan's office. Addie Patterson with U.S. Congressman Duncan's office. Clark Thomason Jackson with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Appreciate her coming down. South Carolina Representative Don Chapman. South Carolina Senator Mike Gambrell. And Don Chapman is actually a South Carolina representative. You didn't know that we put you above that, did you? Okay. So South Carolina Representative Ann Thayer. South Carolina Representative Jay West. Rusty Burns, Anderson County Administrator. Tommy Dunn, Anderson County Council Chairman. Brett Sanders, Anderson County Council. John Wright Jr., Anderson County Council. Mayor Terrence Roberts, City of Anderson. Matt Harbin, Anderson City Council. Luis Martinez, Anderson City Council. Kyle Newton, Anderson City Council. And David McEwen, Anderson City Manager. Now I'd like to call up John Wright Jr. with McCoy Wright. John is on our Anderson Chamber Executive Committee of the Anderson Chamber. He's also Anderson County Councilman, and I'm asking him to give our invocation and pledge.
Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today. We're so thankful for this beautiful day in which you've blessed us. God, I thank you for the people gathered here today. I thank you for the Anderson community. Thank you for this Chamber of Commerce. We thank you for all the leaders who've gathered here together, Lord, to make this a better place to live, work, and play. We ask that you would lead, guide, and direct our steps, and that everything that we do would be for your glory, our good, and the world's joy. We ask all this in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
And the Chamber Board of Directors, Mr. Kyle Newton with Anderson County School District 5.
Thank you, Pam. Appreciate everyone being here today. My name's Kyle Newton. I've got the coveted title of past chair of the Anderson Area Chamber Board of Commerce. It's the same perks as being chair, but none of the additional responsibilities. So it's much better. In all honesty, when I joined the Chamber Board several years ago, I never really thought about eventually chairing the board. But sometimes an opportunity comes along that you just can't pass up, and I want to thank my fellow board members, many of them who are here today, for that opportunity. We had an action-packed 2023, and I know 2024 will be even better under the leadership of Amanda Taylor, my friend. I'm going to be brief, since we're very fortunate to have Senator Graham here today, but I do want to hit quickly on one topic. People who I work with closely, they've probably heard me mention this before, but I think it's something that's exemplified in our Chamber of Commerce Board and in the leadership of the Chamber. We do not operate in a vacuum. We're obviously not insulated from the rest of the state, the nation, or the world, but in this context, I mean the Chamber Board and staff do not just have a singular focus. Your board and your staff wear many hats and navigate many different channels of influence, and I think that's what makes the organization strong. Very rarely does a day go by where I don't interact with someone on our board, but that doesn't always mean it's chamber business. Looking back at last week, and this is not exaggerated, I talked to Pam Christopher about a DOT topic that may impact the school. I was at the State House and Julio Hernandez from Clemson University. He helped me get into a Clemson reception at the last minute where I was introduced to Dr. Stephen Marks, who's here today, who's the dean at the new veterinary school. And Dr. Marks is now coming to the Anderson Institute of Technology to meet with our executive director about possible partnerships opportunities for our students. I talked to Amanda and also Brett Justice at the Upstate Alliance meeting. I was fortunate to listen to Dr. DeHaye at the DCAC meeting at the Walgreens Distribution Center. And I cannot confirm nor deny that John Wright Jr. and I both solved and possibly created some local government issues at Magnetic South. I mention all this to say that the thing that impresses me the most about our Chamber Board and leadership team is everyone's dedication to Anderson. No matter what hat we may be wearing at any given time, everyone involved with the Chamber is always advocating for this community. That's why we had a successful 2023 and why we're going to be continue to be successful moving forward.
In closing, I just want to thank the Board of Directors again for the opportunity to lead last year, and also to remind everyone how incredibly lucky we are to have Pam Christopher. Pam does a lot of good things for Anderson that are noticeable, but I guarantee you she does about twice as many things that go unnoticed, kind of behind the scenes for our community. So yeah, I want to thank you all. Pam, is this when I'm supposed to give Amanda the big gavel and
Yes,
stuff?
sir.
Okay, all right.
So if you want to call her up.
All right, so Amanda, if you want the comically large gavel, now is your time. You're like Thor still. So yes, do we want a picture? So here's your gavel. Yes. You want a picture?
Yeah.
Oh,
You want to get closer? Let's get closer so you can get a really good one. Thank you.
Great.
Okay. Hi, Kyle.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so I have to tell, I shared this joke a little bit. My fear of public speaking is elevated today because, boy, this is a high stage. Man. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amanda Taylor, and I am absolutely thrilled to be here today with you all as your incoming current chair of the Anderson Chamber, and to speak on behalf of the staff and the current board of directors. Today's a day of celebration, and I also want to take a moment to recognize Kyle and his contributions as our past chair. He did an amazing job in 2023. He had a belief of the potential in the Anderson Chamber and in our wider community. Under his leadership, he left a lasting imprint, not only on the organization, but the physical imprint of our community and the landscape. His tenure as chair has been characterized by a pursuit of excellence, passion for the community, and the business development commitment of making a lasting impact. So thank you, Kyle, for your leadership in setting a benchmark that's pretty high. So thank you. So with that said, throughout 2023, the Anderson Area Chamber of Commerce drove numerous initiatives with remarkable impact and success. As we embark upon 2024, we will continue focusing on our initiatives like the Minority and Small Business Accelerator Program, infrastructure improvement initiatives, Engineering Advisory Board, Business Advocacy Committee, Water Resource Committee, Leadership Anderson, and our Agriculture Committee. Our Minority and Small Business Accelerator Program, in collaboration with esteemed organizations such as Anderson University, the Business Development Corporation, Clemson University, Community Works, Tri-County Technical College, and several South Carolina state departments, has been a beacon of support for our local businesses. Excuse me. We continue to collaborate with Anderson County on an initiative to address and improve local road infrastructure. This initiative is a testament to our commitment to a future-ready Anderson County. We've also joined hands with Anderson University to accelerate and provide assistance through their Engineering Advisory Board, ensuring that our educational institutions are closely aligned with the industry needs. Our public policy efforts have strengthened our business community and the economic vitality of Anderson County. This extends to our Water Resources Committee as they protect Anderson County water sources. Recently, we formed the Agriculture Committee to support our agriculture leaders. This is the backbone of South Carolina's largest industry. This is the 39th year of Leadership Anderson, and it's the 31st year of Junior Leadership Anderson's program. Let's celebrate these programs as they continue to develop and strengthen our community's leaders. Our Anderson Chambers Women's Brunch Series has also been re-energized with a renewed vision to focus and foster the growth of the current and future business women leaders. I think we can all agree this is essential to our diverse business ecosystem here in Anderson County. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about, in this January of 2024, Our esteemed president and CEO, Pam Christopher, was appointed the chair of the South Carolina Department of Transportation Commission. She has represented the 3rd Congressional District on the board since 2020. Pam also holds positions on the South Carolina State Transportation Infrastructure Bank. She serves on both GPACS, which is the Greenville-Pickens Area Transportation Policy Committee, and ACATS, which is the Anderson-Clemson Area Transportation Study Policy Committee for South Carolina DOT. I dare you to try to say those 3 times fast. Furthermore, thanks to our significant chamber and community partnerships, our staff can contribute to the Anderson School District 5 Business Education Advisory Committees and the Anderson School District 5 Education Foundation. We are so grateful for these partnerships that our staff, our chamber staff, and their dedication. In closing, these initiatives reflect our unwavering commitment to Anderson County's growth and prosperity. Let's continue to work together to drive Anderson County forward into a future of limitless potential. Thank you all. I was done. I have one last thing. I want to call up Representatives Ann Thayer, Jay West, Don Chapman, and Senator Mike Gambrell for a special presentation. You look so confused.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having us here. We would love to have that gavel for the Anderson delegation meetings, I can assure you. There's a certain group that...
You mean to hold you up so they can see you?
Yeah, please. Anyway, as mentioned earlier, I'm here with Senator Gambrell, Representative Jay West, Representative Don Chapman, and the 4 of us, along with Senator Cash, who couldn't be here today because he had a prior commitment. I just want you to know that we are the members of this delegation that are truly working to serve and to govern this state and to move it forward. That was a subtle hint, but I think you all got it. Anyway, it's session time and we're very busy, and we wanted to stop today and take this time to recognize someone that does a whole lot more for our state and for our county. That's very important, is what we do. And as members of the South Carolina General Assembly, we are here today to celebrate Pam Christopher, as she becomes the first female to serve as the chair of the South Carolina Department of Transportation Commission. As you know, Pam began serving the Anderson Area Chamber as its first female in 2014, strengthening the business community of Anderson County through promotion, advocacy, connection, and education. Furthermore, in 2022, the Carolinas Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives nominated and awarded our own Pam Christopher the South Carolina Chamber Executive of the Year. That award recognizes long-term executives who have excelled over a period of years in leading and innovatively building their chambers. Serving on countless boards and committees, she is a fierce advocate. And now she has become the first woman to serve as the chair of the South Carolina Department of Transportation. Not only adored by her husband of 41 years, Larry, and her 2 sons, Larry Jr. and Jordan, She also has 3 grandchildren, Adeline, Harrison, and Lucas. She is adored by them, and she is also adored by this community. When you walk away from Pam Christopher, you always walk away feeling better about yourself, because that's the kind of person that she is. We love you, Pam. We are so, so, so very proud of you. And here's the fancy state part. Therefore, be it resolved, the state of South Carolina, that the members of the South Carolina General Assembly by this resolution recognize and honor Pamela L. Christopher, the President and CEO of the Anderson Area Chamber of Commerce, and wish her continued success of her new role as Chair of the South Carolina Department of Transportation Commission. Please join me in celebrating this amazing woman.
Y'all might have done that before or after I did the other things. My mind is just blown, but thank y'all so much. I feel the same way about our delegation. They're amazing, and appreciate everything they do for us on a daily basis. Now it's my turn to go into some awards that we have. There's some amazing awards. I'd like to call Brandy Greer, our VP of Operations, up to give our Chamber Ambassador of the Year award out.
It's a big deal to me to actually get to present this award. The way that I found my way to the Chamber was becoming an ambassador. I actually keep my badge on my desk to remind me of my journey through the Chamber. So within our Chamber, you know, our ambassadors are a driving force. They are the true champions of our cause. They generously offer their time and energy as volunteers, and they are just above and beyond just precious to us. You'll see our ambassadors at things like ribbon cuttings, soft openings, celebrations for businesses that are hitting anniversaries and milestones. You will see them at the golf tournament. You'll see them at events like today. Chances are an ambassador helped you find your table. So presenting this is a little extra special to me today. I thought I was being slick and thought that we had somebody surprised, and they were a little bit too smart for me. But this person that is receiving this award today is very ingrained in our community. They are involved with several organizations. You will see her at almost every event there is, a networking event, nonprofit event. She is just the most well-rounded, most precious person that I know, and I'm so thankful to call her my friend. She is a mom, a wife, a twin. She is a new grandmother, and chances are she has helped several people in here buy their first home, their second home, their vacation home, and their forever home. And she walks them through that process effortlessly. She handles everybody she meets like family. And when she meets a new individual that is new to the business community or has started a business, the first thing she says is, Brandy, I told them, you need to get over there to the Chamber. You need to get engaged. You need to join. You need to get involved. You need to get to the Chamber. And she does. I mean, they usually join right after she's talked to them. So for us to present this, and I think you need to stand up here with me to do this because she's so precious to us. It is our absolute honor to present the Chamber Ambassador of the Year Award to Miss Lois Philyaw. Thank you.
She is tremendous. We really appreciate you so much, Lois. Now, our Anderson Rising Young Professional Award recipient. Jonathan Brissy, or better known as JB, is the son of Andy and Renee Brissy. JB married Madison Junkins in June of 2021, and they are now expecting their first child. Jonathan is a graduate of T.L. Hanna High School, class of 2013. He received a Bachelor of Science in Business Management from Clemson University, class of 2017, and is an avid golfer. Jonathan started work with Harris Commercial and Harris Home, the Dream Team, in 2017 as an operations intern, and then was promoted forward as sales representative. In 2023, he was promoted again and now serves in new business development. Jonathan serves on the Festival of Treats Committee for the Anderson Free Clinic and the new membership committee for the Greenville Home Builders Association. Jonathan has been very engaged with the Anderson Area Chamber of Commerce's Anderson Rising program and is seen as an incredible leader. Jonathan has invited and brought many young professionals to our programs and has been instrumental in the growth of other young professionals throughout Anderson County. You will always find JB eager to meet others and help them make connections throughout the business community. He is always working to bring other leaders together to work for the good of Anderson County and improve the economic vitality of our business community. JB is an inspirational leader and goes the extra mile to help others in their career progression. He continues to be a vital part of growing our community and is seen as an effective young professional and leader in Anderson County. We are grateful for his leadership in our Anderson Rising Young Professional Group and would like to recognize his service to his Anderson Area Chamber of Commerce. Please help me in congratulating JB as our Anderson Rising Young Professional of the Year award recipient. Appropriate to let you know that when New Foundation's Home for Children started, that our U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham was there for their groundbreaking. That's all. That's significant, and I really appreciate what you did, sir. Trent Acker.
Thank you, Pam. The Duke Energy Citizenship and Service Award recognizes those who, through giving of their time, talent, and treasure, truly make a meaningful impact in their community. I am sure that you will agree that today's honoree represents the very spirit of the award, and we're just about to find out just how successful we are at keeping a secret. Carol Burdette is a Pendleton native and a lifelong Anderson County resident, where she attended Anderson County Public Schools and later received a Bachelor of Arts degree from Southern Wesleyan University. I want to move this a bit. Carol has been involved in community organizations as a volunteer or staff member for 33 years. For 22 of those 33 years, she served in elected office in the town of Pendleton, first as a council member from 1987 to 1997, and then as mayor until 2009. She has been the chief executive officer at the United Way of Anderson County since 2002, after serving as a volunteer with the organization for 13 years. Among her many volunteer positions, Carol served as board chair of the Anderson Area YMCA, United Way of Anderson County, the Anderson Area Chamber of Commerce, and South Carolina Association of Nonprofit Organizations. She is also a past president of Advance SC and the Municipal Association of South Carolina. Carol held the position of Rotary Governor for Rotary District 7750 for 2 terms. She is a major donor, a Quest Society member, a Paul Harris Society member, and served as the chair for Rotary Club Centennial. Additionally, she has served on the Board of Visitors of Anderson University, the Anderson Oconee Pickens Mental Health Board, the Board of Trustees of Spartanburg Methodist College. She is the past chair of 10th at Top, the Anderson Area Sister Cities Association, and the Pendleton Historic Foundation. Carol also chaired the town of Pendleton's 225th Anniversary Committee and held a 6-year term on the board of Sister Cities International. Carol is a member of Pendleton United Methodist Church, where she serves as a lay leader, member of the Council of Stewards and Board of Trustees. She also serves as a lay speaker, has served on district committees, and is a lay delegate to the South Carolina United Methodist Conference. Carol has been honored with the Pointing the Way Award, the Athena Award, the Leadership Anderson Alumni Award, a presidential citation from her alma mater, Southern Wesleyan University, 2014 Economic Development Ambassador for Anderson County by Governor Nikki Haley, was named as one of 15 over 50 by the Anderson Independent Mail, and also Nonprofit Director of the Year by Anderson Area Chamber of Commerce. Carol's involvement in her community, region, and state is a testament to her passion for servant leadership. Serving is a way of life for Carol. She leads with enthusiasm, is passionate about improving the lives of others. Never one to wait for a chance to help, Carol seeks out opportunities and gladly takes hold of those that God offers. She has truly paved the way for future leaders and is quick to acknowledge others for their service. But today is a day to celebrate for Carol. Carol has announced her retirement from the United Way of Anderson County at the end of this year, but the dedicated service and leadership she has provided we remember for years to come. Carol, you've created a culture of inclusiveness and caring in all that you have done, and your work has truly created positive change in the lives of our people. On behalf of Duke Energy and the Anderson Chamber of Commerce, it is my honor to present Carol Burdette with the Duke Energy Citizenship and Service Award. Surprise.
I promise I'll be very brief, but this means a great deal to me for several reasons. One, some of you may know, but others may not. When I was 14, my mother passed away. I went to live with my sister and her new husband, who was a Duke Power employee his entire career. So I felt like I was a part of the Duke family. And then just about 20 years ago, Trent's dad, George Acker, appointed me to the Advanced SC board. And he said, I want you to bring home the bacon. And I've tried to do that for the counties that I represent on that board. And also, last but not least, I would like to say that because I've been around a long time, I remember the first time this award was presented, and it was presented to my dear friend, who's no longer with us today, Richard Shirley. So thank you, Pam, thank you, Trent, thank you to this chamber for all that you have done to bolster my career. It means a great deal to me. Thank you.
And Carol is a past chair of our chamber board too, so we so appreciate her. So very deserving, Carol. So excited for you. Now I have the great honor of introducing Lindsey Graham to you. Lindsey Graham has earned a reputation as a conservative problem solver and one of the strongest proponents of a robust national defense program. A frequent visitor to American troops stationed overseas for on-the-ground assessments, Graham has consistently pushed for outcomes in the war on terror which protect our long-term national security interests. One leading conservative recently wrote that when it comes to defending America, Lindsey Graham has been right about more things on foreign policy for longer than just about anyone. If anyone has bragging rights on foreign policy, it is Graham. Graham is also a leader in cutting spending, reforming entitlements, and getting government out of the way so businesses can create jobs. One national conservative organization called him a taxpayer hero who puts the interests of the taxpayer ahead of politics by consistently voting to cut wasteful spending, reduce the tax burden, and make voting to cut wasteful spending, reduce the tax burden, and make government more accountable to taxpayers. Graham was elected to the United States Senate in 2002 and was reelected in 2008, 2014, and 2020. He became the first person in South Carolina history to garner over 1 million votes in the 2008 general election. Graham currently serves as the ranking member on the Senate Committee on the Judiciary. Graham also serves as a member of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Senate Committee on the Budget, and Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works. Prior to serving in the Senate, Graham was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in '94 as the first Republican from the 3rd Congressional District of South Carolina since 1877. I think that deserves a round of applause. Before being elected to Congress, Graham compiled a distinguished record in the United States Air Force as he logged 6.5 years of service on active duty as an Air Force lawyer. From 1984 to 1988, he was assigned overseas and served at Rhein-Main Air Force Base in Germany. And upon leaving active duty Air Force in 1989, Graham joined the South Carolina Air National Guard, where he served until 1995. During the first Gulf War in the early 90s, Graham was called active duty and served statewide at McEntire Air National Guard Base as staff judge advocate, where he prepared members for deployment to the Gulf region. In 1995, Graham joined the U.S. Air Force Reserves. During American military operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, Graham put his experience in military law to use, pulling numerous short-term reserve duties in both countries over congressional breaks and holidays. That says a great deal.
And before I go on, I just want to tell you, Mr. Graham, my dad was a retired Air Force man for 22 years. He passed in November, but I greatly appreciate your service to our country. Graham retired from the Air Force Reserves in June of 2015, having served his country in uniform for 33 years. He retired at the rank of colonel, his country in uniform for 33 years. A native South Carolinian, Graham grew up in a blue-collar family in the small town of Central, where his parents ran a restaurant and pool hall. The first member of his family to go to college. Graham earned his undergraduate and law degrees from the University of South Carolina. He lives in Seneca and is a member of Corinth Baptist Church. We so appreciate everything you do for us. Please help me welcome U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham.
You read it just like we wrote it. That was good. If you don't toot your own horn, it doesn't get tooted. Bob Dole told me that. Thank you. How about another round of applause for this great lady? So I've been surrounded by people who are getting awards for doing good things. This is unusual for me. Most people I'm around are not doing good things. So it's kind of good to come back to a Chamber of Commerce meeting and get your bearings reset, right? There are people out there trying to do good things. You just can't hear about them because there's too much noise. So Carol, congratulations. I know many of you here. We're growing old gracefully together. Anderson County is like knocking it out of the park. The city and the county are just like humming. If we can pass the 6 appropriation bills this week, there'll be $5 billion coming from the federal government to exit 21. So that'll be good. I'm the only guy in the delegation that earmarks, and it's okay with me. We'll just keep it that way. I'd like to have a say about where your money's spent. So, I want world peace. I want Ukraine to beat the Russians. I want to get our house in Northern Washington, and I want Buc-ee's to come to Anderson. Not necessarily in that order, though. That's the big deal, don't you think? Those folks could go anywhere. The fact they picked here says a lot about what you're doing and what's going on in this community. So it really is a vote affirming where you're headed as a community, because these folks could go anywhere. It's going to be a great addition to the community if we can get it over the line. We're going to do our small part. So I grew up in Central. Anybody know where Central's at? No? Yeah. My dad owned a liquor store. Yeah, I met a lot of Clemson fans on Saturday. That was always good for the family business. But this is home. Come to Anderson when I was a kid back in the 60s. The first McDonald's, do you remember where it was at? First McDonald's in this whole region. It was like, going on vacation. Go to J.M. Field shopping, look at all the old guns, and go up to McDonald's. That was a big night for the Graham family. So Anderson is part of who I am. This is where we all go shopping for Christmas because it's the place with the most stores. I just really appreciate being invited today, and I'm going to kind of walk you through some things that I hope you'll find interesting. If not, it'll be fairly short. That's the good news. So let's start with Exit 21. It's a big deal to improve our infrastructure. When you're growing this fast, you have to stay ahead of road, water, and sewer. Not very glamorous, is it? But if you don't have the infrastructure in place, to our legislative delegation, they will not come. You're competing with every exit on I-85. The competition to land good business is as high as I've ever seen it. Now, what do people look for when they want to locate their business? A reasonable tax structure. So to the city and the county and the state, keep it up. My end of the bargain, not so much. We need to get our house in order on federal taxes, but in South Carolina, local state taxes are very business friendly. And you get your money back. You're going to invest some public funds to attract these people, and over the arc of time, you will make money and the community will be enhanced for it. They also look for a good place to live. Hospitals. Anderson Hospital, AMED, the whole, you just knock it out of the park. The healthcare in this community really is second to none. You should be proud of that. Schools, you should, yeah, clap for healthcare. We're all one car wreck away from needing it, so just got to remember that. So schools, good place to raise a family, right? Good schools, people that teach stuff, not weird stuff, just good stuff that you need to know to be successful. So the foundation of being successful in Anderson County is solid. And let's keep it that way. And that means you got to roll up your sleeves and work together. That means you've got to invest for the future now. You have to make some hard decisions that will only pay off after you're gone. There's not much reward for that in my business right now. What I like most about the chamber, how many of you are in competition with somebody in this room? Just about all of you. Any bankers? I know there got to be some lawyers. Can't have a crowd this big without a lawyer. The bottom line is that you're in competition by day, but the chamber is a vehicle for you to work together to grow the community. I wish we could do more than in Washington. That we can be in competition, but also still move the community forward. That's the purpose of the chamber, is to find common ground. All of you need good roads. All of you need good schools. All of you need police. And the chamber works to improve the quality of life, working with the business community as a liaison to your government. Now, I grew up in a small business family. We had a liquor store, a beer joint, and a pool room. And that's the best training to be in the United States Senate. Dealing with a bunch of drunks and running a pool room. So I learned a lot. One thing I learned is don't buy a knife if a guy's threatened to cut your throat. That's helped me with Iran. So the experience of growing up in a small town and a small community and having a business where if you don't open up, you don't get paid. Is anybody in a business, if you don't open up, you don't get paid? My mom and dad, 6 days a week, thank God for the blue laws, you know, morning, noon, and night. Going on vacation's hard because who you let run your business while you're gone for a few days? That's the world I came from. I understand it, I remember it, it's part of who I am. But what I thought I'd try to do today is tell you that not only is Exit 21 going to get some help that it needs and could transform this community if we get Buc-ee's, it really could. There's 1,036 miles of road in South Carolina that needs some help. I voted for a bipartisan infrastructure bill. Got criticized for it. That's okay. It's politics, right? South Carolina will get almost $5 billion of new money for roads and bridges we would not have otherwise. And that money was going to go somewhere. Now it's coming here. And you'll be a good person to help spend it. 477 bridges that are just about going to be closed if we don't do something about it. When you're a growing community, you need to stay ahead on the infrastructure front. That's why I voted for the infrastructure bill, because it's not perfect, but it would help my state at a time that we need help. We're blessed to be a community on the go. I spend a lot of time traveling this world with communities that are in decline or at war with each other. Whatever problems we have at home, you need to kiss the ground that you live in Anderson, South Carolina, because it's a great place compared to most places that I visit. And the goal is to keep it that way. So it's the electric city, right? That's what Strom told me. I didn't know the guy who was the Democrat in 1877, but Strom Thurmond did. He said he's a pretty good guy, but glad he got beat. So I think Strom actually came here when you turned the lights on. So that was a big deal back then. Now, when I say electric city, it's different. How many of you thought you'd ever live to see electricity power cars? There'll come a day. How many of you own an electric vehicle? I'll ask that if I'm around. a few years from now, and more of you raise your hands. You know why? Because they're building more of them than ever. BMW's spent billions of dollars on a battery plant. I'm skeptical about how all this works, but let me tell you, the people in the car business, they're building these things. You know why they're building these things? They think somebody's going to buy it. So just think about the biggest change in my lifetime and your lifetime will be if half the cars on the road become electric. What does that mean? You better find a way to produce more power. So nuclear power, we're a nuclear state. I hope to see a renaissance of nuclear power. Count me in for alternative energy, but if you don't have natural gas in the mix, you'll never get there. There's not enough wind and solar and all this other stuff to generate the power you need to double the grid in 20 years. So somebody needs to think about what happens when most cars don't run on gas if you collect gas taxes. One of the ways that you're going to get Buc-ee to pay for itself is they got like 9,000 pumping stations. You can see Buc-ee's from the space station. These are big things. And they pump a lot of gas. But there'll come a day when there'll be charging stations and gas pumps. But that transition is coming. I think it's inevitable. And South Carolina's on the forefront of the electric vehicle, believe it or not. We're building battery plants. Scout is going to build the Scout that we all knew in the 70s, is going to be all electric. So I am trying to prepare our state for what I think will be a renaissance of transportation. There's going to be more and more electric vehicles, and you have to plan to get more and more power generation. To the left, who wants to shut everything down? How do you generate power when everything's shut down? You'll need natural gas for a long time to come. It's lower in carbon, but you're going to need fossil fuels for decades to come. But there's a transition coming in the energy sector, and I want to be part of it. What would the world look like if you didn't have to buy oil from people who hated your guts? Look better, wouldn't it? So this energy transformation is real. And if we're smart in South Carolina, which we are, we're going to be a welcoming state. We're always going to appreciate the fossil fuel industry, natural gas, oil. It's part of the mix for a long time to come. But we're going to get ready for the biggest change in my lifetime, and that's the electrification of the transportation fleet. The other thing is hydrogen may be a source of driving cars in the future. Savannah Riverside in South Carolina is probably the most advanced place on the planet for hydrogen fuel cell research. Right down the road. We got a lot going on here in South Carolina, and we're going to take what we have, we're going to modernize it, we're going to be a welcoming state for the future. And the future's coming. And what kind of future we have depends on what we do today. What kind of world do you want to live in? Do you want to live in a world where somebody can take your stuff by force of arms? I don't. Ukraine's fighting like tigers. I've been there 4 or 5 times since the war started. It's a faraway place and people are weary of war. I can understand that. But let me tell you something. If Putin gets away with this, the war doesn't stop. It gets bigger. What does it mean to Anderson? One of the reasons inflation is high is that Ukraine produces most of the wheat and grain for the developing world, and they're shut down now. When the world's on fire, energy costs go up. So we're not losing any soldiers, thank God, in Ukraine. We're sending them money and weapons. But let me tell you, when it comes to evil, you pay now or you pay later. I choose to stand up now. Having said all that, with $34 trillion in debt, and our broken border in the southern border is a national security nightmare. 2 weeks ago, I went there. To the men and women in the Border Patrol, God bless you. You have been abandoned. You're not appreciated. We're asking you to do the impossible. I don't want to scare you, but I'm telling you, I've never seen better conditions for an attack on our homeland than right now. When we got out of Afghanistan, all the bad guys came back. You may be tired of fighting radical Islam, but they're not tired of fighting you. And my goal is to keep the fight over there. I want to fight them in their backyard, not ours. They're not going to stop until somebody makes it. And here's the good news. Most people over there are not buying what these nut jobs are selling. They just need our help to fight back. You can't build a wall between us and the Mideast, but you can do the following. You can be involved with people who will not kill you, could be your partners in the future, to keep people away from your homeland who would kill you. You can have some troops over there protecting all of us here. The day that you give the ground back to the enemy, they will seize the moment. So this idea of endless war, well, I tell you what, if you want the war over, you need to tell Al-Qaeda and ISIS and all these other guys to stop fighting. So we're in a war. It's hard to define. There's no capital to conquer, no Berlin or Tokyo to bomb. There's no Air Force to shoot down or Navy to sink. But these people are committed to their cause, and they would kill everybody in this room if they could. Any Presbyterians here? You're predestined to be here. Glad to have you. Any Methodists? Somebody, Carol's a Methodist, right? That's a Baptist can read. We make fun of each other religiously, and we take it out on the softball field. These people are not laughing. I have been there. During my time as a judge advocate, I served as legal advisors to the prisons where these guys were housed. I have literally seen them. They are crazy. They're religious Nazis. And I'm going to do all I can while I'm your senator to make sure that we have the resources to keep them over there so they don't come here. If Putin gets away with it in Ukraine, there goes Taiwan. 80% of all the chips made that go into every car and every digital device in the world comes from Taiwan. I think it would be bad for America to have Taiwan taken over by China for a lot of reasons, but one, they dominate the digital economy. They'd also be destroying a democracy we've stood by for over 60 years. We live in very dangerous times. The border is broken because we made bad policy choices. This election is going to be about what kind of world you want to live in. When 85% of the people that show up at the border get into the country, they will keep coming. That number's got to go down. They need to wait in Mexico for their court hearing this 5 years from now. Because if they pay $10,000 to go to Mexico and never get in, they'll stop coming. And people need to be sent back that are here illegally. I've worked on immigration reform. I understand that we're all immigrants, but this is not immigration, this is insanity. We're living on borrowed time. Enough fentanyl coming across that border to kill 5 billion people. Enough last year alone to kill every American. Anderson County law enforcement will tell you about fentanyl in your own community. It all comes across the southern border, mostly made in China. You may want to leave the world alone, but they will not leave you alone. That's what I've learned in my time in Washington. Evil triumphs when people just sit around and do nothing. My goal is to do smart things sooner rather than later. Learn from my mistakes, but always keep trying to make the world a safer, better place. Sort of like what you're doing. This is a meeting about recognizing people who give more than they take. Recognize people who do things without pay but are good for the community. We need more of this, not less. I can tell you how this movie eventually ends. The idea of the chamber would triumph over the idea of chaos. It always does. Good will conquer evil. The only question is how many people have to die before that day comes. There's a rhythm to history, folks. And it seems like we learned little from our past mistakes. The country that can learn from their mistakes the quickest will dominate the 21st century. Here's what I hope for our nation. That we will stop the chaos at the border, but we will not turn our back on immigration because we need it. We need new workers coming into this country on our terms, speaking our language, doing jobs that we have a hard time filling in our country. Legal immigration can be a win-win. Illegal immigration is a nightmare for the woman being raped getting here, and the cartels making billions off the dirtiest of all business, human trafficking. With the weapons, Ukraine will keep fighting, and I think they can turn the tide by the end of the year so we can get a better deal in Ukraine, so Putin will have lost. NATO will be bigger. He's an indicted war criminal, and Ukraine will be standing still after 24 is my hope, so that China may think twice about invading Taiwan. The last thing I want to talk to you about is not Exit 21, it's Saudi Arabia and Israel. We have a chance, a decent chance, in the next 60 to 90 days to end the Arab-Israeli conflict in the midst of all this horror. Since April of last year, I've been going to Saudi Arabia on a regular basis, working with the Biden administration to try to build on the Abraham Accords. Where are the Abraham Accords? About 6 or 7 Arab nations under President Trump recognized Israel as a legitimate nation in the Mideast and opened up embassies with the Jewish state. Arab nations opened up an embassy in Jerusalem. It was a big deal. The biggest prize of all is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia purchased $38 billion of 787 jets made for Boeing in Charleston, South Carolina. What happens in the world matters to us. So I'm hoping that in the coming weeks and no later than the coming months, that we can take the Abraham Accords to the next level, where Saudi Arabia, after having done a defense agreement with the United States, which would be checkmate toward Iranian ambitions, would recognize the state of Israel. I never thought in my lifetime I would see the possibility of the Arabs, the keeper of the mosques of Mecca and Medina, saying, yes, there's the Jewish state, you're welcome to be here. That will change the world. You know what I like about America? You can grow up in Central and be part of changing the world. And when I go to the Mideast, it really is like one long, drawn-out divorce. Frankie, you're here. I spent a lot of time at divorce court in South Carolina, that's why I'm not married. There's Mideast hate and there's divorce hate. Understanding people and what they want and what they need is a foundation of a better community, but also a foreign policy. The reason I go over there so much is that once they get to know you, they'll talk to you differently. It's a place where they need to know you. They need to understand who you are as an individual. So in the last 8 weeks, I've been 4 times. And I want to help President Biden close this deal. I want him to get beat in November, but I want to help him close this deal. Because if we can make this happen, the massacre of October the 7th will not be the last word. Why was Israel attacked so viciously by Hamas? To stop the reconciliation process. Iran's worst nightmare, ladies and gentlemen, is for the Arabs and the Israelis to make peace. That isolates them more. This Hamas attack was generated by Iran to supplying weapons. There is no Hamas without Iran. If we can pull this off, all those people that were slaughtered and raped and murdered will not have died in vain. What does that mean to Anderson? It means the world will be a better place. It means that we can do business in the Mideast. We can travel to the Mideast. We can make money in the Mideast rather than being a source of constant tension in our lives. So you have to do a couple of things. You got to get Buc-ee's here. You got to pass bills to fund the government. You have to get your hands dirty recruiting industry. You have to yell at each other, but eventually find a way forward. So what I want to do for the rest of my time in politics is to take the spirit of this meeting, which is trying to work together for a common good. I can throw a punch. All the rewards of my business are about who's the loudest and who's the meanest. If you want to change that, do you? Well, then find people who will get things done. Every member of Congress is your business partner, whether you like it or not. You need to take some time and effort to pick the people that you think would be good business partners for your business. You need to spend time and effort to elect people at state and local level that you feel like understand who you are and care more about the community than they care about themselves. That's why you got all these awards. The one thing in common to all these award winners, people see in you that you care more about us than you care about yourself. I took Strom Thurmond's place. He was elected the year before I was born. We change senators every 50 years whether we need to or not, so, which is okay with me. So look at what's going on in South Carolina. Nikki Haley is the last person standing in a race to be president on the Republican side. She has a lot to be proud of. One of the most accomplished people I've ever met. She's fighting a hard, good fight, but it's always been uphill. But I'm proud of Nikki Haley. The number one candidate, I think, to be vice president for President Trump is Tim Scott. Just think about that. Our small state and the role we play on the world stage. I think it comes from who we are. Here's what I think. I think what South Carolina has to offer the world is not only good for Buc-ee's, it's good for the world at large. Thank you very much.